Yes, hello everyone, and Ramadan Kareem to all of you. We are wishing you a very blessed Ramadan month. So, on that note, and on behalf of Thai, Dubai, welcome to everyone. We are testing now the slot. We tested it last week, but it worked. So, hopefully, we are getting more audience during this guest months for our webinars. I would like to introduce Thai very briefly. I'm assuming everyone here might know about it, but in case you don't, in a nutshell, Thai is an organization that fosters entrepreneurship globally. What started as a small gas, Thai has namely mentoring, networking, education, funding, and incubation. While Thai has a global reach, we make sure that each chapter gets to focus on the local ecosystem. There are some great programs which we are running for all the entrepreneurs, Thai Mentorship Program, Thai Women Program, Thai University, Thai program, and then we have Thai Hustle, Thai Wellness, Thai Legal Series, and we have a program that is running with HSBC that is focused on sustainability. Thai Dubai is the Middle East chapter of Thai based in Dubai, Internet City, and has been around for more than 18 years now. The easiest way to be part of this community and to get to know about it, about all the events, is to follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or just Google Thai Dubai. Trust me, we're everywhere right now. If you need more information about Thai, I'm very happy to answer your questions if you'd like to send me a chat. And as of now, I'm going to introduce our moderator for today, Mr. Ivan Fernandez. We don't joke around when we say Ivan is a serial entrepreneur with a demonstrated history of several successful IT companies with solution developments for banks and government for over 3 decades. Well known for innovative skills in banking and payment solution, MGov solution, ERP for education, printing and publishing, mobile applications, mentoring startups and management, strong arts and design professional with an engineer degree in electronics and communication. Ivan is a founding member, is a founding charter member and past president of Thai Dubai. Founded Canara Entrepreneurship to promote entrepreneurship among individuals from the Canara region, promoted entrepreneurs in colleges, and now he chairs, among the other activities that he has on the board of Thai Dubai, he chairs the entrepreneurial mentorship program. So thank you. Welcome, Ivan, and up to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rosine. Good afternoon and Ramadan Kareem. We are in the holy month of Ramadan. I know a lot of our audience today is fasting. We'll try to make it as slick as possible, but this 1 hour would be very useful to understand the experiences that some of our mentees and mentors have gone through during this year. All entrepreneurs, they start with the great idea, an idea that they believe can transform the world. The successful entrepreneurs at Thai are testimony to this adage. What entrepreneurs realize sooner or later is that great ideas by themselves are not sufficient ingredients for success. Entrepreneurs need significant learning, support, and inputs from an enabling ecosystem in order to succeed. Mentoring at Thai is one of our main priorities, and it's one of the most valuable assets to its members. This program is a direct result of the time and effort provided by our charter members who act as mentors. Mentees have the opportunity to meet with their Thai mentors for a one-to-one session to pick their brains on various issues bothering them. The needs of the mentees would naturally vary depending on their business and the stage at which they are, but would typically cover a wide variety of areas such as validating their business plans, defining probably value propositions, their offerings, the markets and sizing opportunities, strategies on raising funds, inputs on company formation and structuring or restructuring, functional strategies and perspectives, including technology and marketing, inputs on managing investors, compliances, and government requirements. Thai Dubai manages several mentoring cohorts, some to meet the needs of its partner organizations, such as HSBC for sustainability, but it also runs an annual mentoring class for all the mentees who want to benefit from the collective expertise available within the Thai network. We are currently in the last quarter for the class of 2021, and today is a great opportunity to talk to a few of our mentees and the mentors on their respective experience during this year. We also have opened applications for the second batch on sustainability in partnership with HSBC. Startups in this sector that are looking for mentoring support, kindly check the details on our website and apply. Today, we have selected 3 of our startups from the class of 2021. Key to enable assistive technology with Jose Rubinga and his mentor, Meeta Srinivasan. The second startup that we will interact is Lock and Stock, founded by Craig Fernandez and his mentor, Shamima Pavin, followed by Kafila, founded by Jitin Manoharan and his mentor, Dev Vaswani. We will have the opportunity also to get some audience questions to the mentees and the mentors. Let's now start with Key to Enable. Jose, when I first looked at your business plan, I really fell in love with it. It had all the elements, not just assistive technology, but it had social impact. It targeted the differently abled individuals for education, rehabilitation, and conformed to several UN Sustainable Development Goals. What made you come up with this idea, and what made you comfortable to get plunged into it as a business?
Thank you so much for having me and Key to Enable Assistive Technology in this unique event. And I'm always learning from all your experiences. My name is José Robinja, and I'm from Brazil. And I can say that every day I learn more and more from this amazing community. And of course, I'm improving my English because in my country, we only have Portuguese and 230 million people talking only in Portuguese. And you asked me what made me start with this solution. I'm going to show you something that is very interesting here. I started teaching children music, but teaching them how to play music while they were playing. We created this keyboard. It's a musical keyboard that we connect to the computer, or at that time, it was 2008. We didn't have so many gadgets to turn this on, but I started teaching them. And what I saw is that many things happened inside their classrooms and inside their lives. And then someone asked me to try music with children with disabilities. And I can tell you that before, I was selling computers and selling hardware, software, technology to companies, to the public sector, to end users, and I couldn't see the change in their lives, you know. But when I saw that kids with disabilities, how they changed, the way they behave, when they are, when we put something different for them, then everything changed. And then I came up together with the person that was born with cerebral palsy, that he graduated in computer science without even saying a word. Then we came up with the other solution that is the EX, it's the keyword. So it is a complete educational platform that enables people with disabilities. They call them here in the UAE people of determination, how to learn and how to engage and how to do everything that is possible using technology.
Very good. You said you are from Brazil,
Yeah.
you're learning English. I believe you started your business initially in those markets. You went to the United States, set up something there, and then you came down to Dubai. What made you look at this market as a priority, and why did you choose to be based in Dubai?
In Brazil, we have today more than 400 schools and more than 100 rehabilitation centers already using our technology. And if I ask you if you knew that, I think that you say that, no, I didn't know that. And why is that? Because sometimes what we make there in Brazil stays there. So the UAE is it's still mysterious to us, mainly in Brazil. And I applied to an opportunity that started here in in September 2019. It was the first social impact incubator from Abu Dhabi. The name is man.gov.ae. And then I came to the region and lived here for 4 months. And of course, I understood that to grow to other countries, I had to be here.
Very good. Okay, so but how did you come to know of Thai, and why did you choose to be a mentee, to be mentored by Thai?
Actually, when I came to the region, I was still trying to understand what was happening, and then I came up with some events. And I still remember it was 12th of April. There was an event called how to use Zoom effectively. So we were in the middle of COVID, and then Thai was handling this event. And of course, I applied, and then I saw that you were great, like teaching, and understood that, hey, I need to be near these guys.
Very good. Okay, you are mentored by Meeta. For those who are not aware, Meeta Srinivasan is the founder of Market Buzz. She's a communication specialist who lives and breathes technology. She's very proactive, very innovative, and always willing to help others. Meeta, why did you choose Jose as your mentee in this class?
I don't know whether I can. I don't know if I can say that I chose him. I think I got chosen, like a lot of things in Thai. But I think it was a good match because I think his product is very interesting, and he needed help with communications. And I thought that I think this, and as Thai and we do in our mentorship program, is we make sure that we are paired with the right person and made sure that the person that will add the most value. And I could add the most value to what Jose was looking for at that time, and which was upping his communications game, expanding his horizons a little bit, and helping him through his transition that he needs to do for scaling up.
But Meeta, what motivates you to become a mentor? Why do you think it's important for you to mentee the next generation and provide your valuable time for this purpose?
In addition to basically getting inspired myself by what they're doing, I just love helping people. I find it very satisfying. I find it very interesting to understand and help somebody achieve their goals. And if it involves my favorite area, which is communications, then that's a double win for me. But no, I just like helping, and if I can help, why not? I don't see why not.
Good. Jose, I know that you have struck a good chemistry with Meeta. Can you give us a span of how did you build that relationship?
Yeah, I promise that this one will be short, but we were all lost and confused with so much information, bad news, good news about COVID pandemic situation. And I was looking for information and I wanted to share my ideas with someone and then that I could trust, of course. And then I found Mita and it was I was lucky because I was already following her in the articles and everything that she published. And she introduced me to many people. And of course, I need to say to Craig Fernandez, because she introduced me to Shamima. So she's not only yours. And I can say something here. This is my life. This is my brother because he's here with me. This is my life before Mita, okay? And then this is my life after Mita. So we had a lot of improvement. So I think that I can summarize like this.
Very good, excellent. Mita, when initially you got the business plan of Jose on Key to Enable, what were your initial thoughts? What do you think that you could really add value in, and how you could help Jose?
Well, actually, as soon as I saw his business plan, there were so many different areas I could see where he could help raise this thing. One was raise awareness of what he's doing, because what he's doing is extraordinary. It's changing lives for some people whose lives are probably quite different, helping parents, helping teachers that are probably struggling to be able to make the lives of those kids, or even some of them young adults as well, make it meaningful, make it important, make them independent. And I thought there were lots of ways that he could do to raise that awareness. And that was one of the key things that came to mind. And with all the privileges and stuff that we have in the UAE and all the options that we have in the UAE, I thought it was very important for him to be able to make the most of it. And using our network as TIE members and TIE charter members, I thought there were lots of things that he could do to increase. And I helped him as much as I could and wherever I can. I tell you what, though, he's a very hardworking man. He is a very hardworking man. He's diligent and he's very dedicated to what he's doing.
Excellent. So he has all the ingredients to be a very successful entrepreneur. Jose, from your perspective, can you give us a few points that you really took to heart from your interaction with Mita, and that which has helped you today to be as an individual as well as in your business?
I could talk here for 2 hours, but I want to highlight 2 of them. One of them is about corporate social responsibility. I was still trying to understand a little bit more how it worked here, and she helped me a lot. She opened our minds how to understand, how to build a project. And actually now we have just started a project with CSR, and she's helping us with that. And another thing is, as she said, the marketing. We were still struggling yet because I was alone here in the UAE. Now I have a team, and with this team, I will be able to be more present, to have the right exposure and visibility. And Mita is there helping us with this.
Okay. Mita, during the course of your mentoring with Jose, were there any pivots that you recommended to him? If so, were they applied? Was there any change due to the COVID situation that had to be done? Whether, or was it, business as usual?
No, there were some changes, obviously, because he had to cope with some of the restrictions and other stuff. But the opportunities, etc., because I'm in PR and I'm in communications, I read a lot. I get a lot of information. I get a lot of information from around the community, etc. So I was able to point him in the right direction. Also, being part of TIE, I sort of pointed him in the direction of people like HSBC, etc., that I think would have a good fit with them. And because he's in education, I put him in touch with Shamima, because she works in that particular line of business, to look at what are the areas of cooperation he could do, where he could actually go out there and do it. Because the idea is to make sure that there are more people who are people of determination, schools that work for the disabled and the mentally challenged, and to say how he could make sure that he could get prototypes into these places so that he can do. And I think that's one of the things that were quite interesting. So I did introduce him to a few people and made sure he was aware of some of the opportunities where he could basically take advantage of. And that was what was key, I think.
Jose, from your perspective, what would be your statements for somebody who is trying to become an aspiring, entrepreneur, trying to build a startup and is looking for mentoring and probably would apply for the next batch, with time?
I would say that please apply, because we think that, oh, I'm going to talk to someone, but it's not this. It's building a relationship. Actually, it is adding the network of this mentor to your network. So it has a really powerful, possibilities when you do this. So if someone is still thinking about, I would just say, please apply, because this is a gain-gain situation. It's very important.
Thank you, because I think that's very useful for us, because such statements and experiences are what actually give us all the fulfillment of our commitment and passion to promoting you guys.
I will, can I just jump in for a very quick second here, Ivan? I think one of the things that worked with me and Jose was that we were regular in our meetings. We regularly had updates. We regularly had points taken down and actioned. And I think that works. I mean, it can't be just one-sided. It can't be one person doing everything and the other person not doing it. It has to be both-sided. And I think that's what worked.
Absolutely. And that's what we have seen with most of the businesses that have taken off versus those which are struggling and complaining. The ones that actually act, and react are the ones that have scaled up. The ones that all come back with complaints and why they cannot do it, are the ones who are basically there at the same level or even gone backwards. Yes. So it's very important for you to react and put the efforts to make it happen, because mentors can only guide you. They cannot make and replace you. So wonderful. Thank you very much. We'll interact with the next batch, but be there for the last round so that we can have a joint session with all of you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, the next one is Lock and Stock, the mentee, Craig Fernandez. Craig, probably you can start by giving a quick description of yourself and your business so that the audience understands what you do.
Sure. Firstly, thanks, Ivan, for that. Thanks, Ivan, for the introduction. And hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Craig, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Lock and Stock. We are an education marketplace that is making education more accessible and affordable to all. We do that by connecting students with guaranteed scholarships and fee waivers at universities. We work with about 1,200 universities around the world. We have over 70,000 students on our platform. And we connect them and we help them reduce their tuition burden when they enroll. I think university tuition is expensive. I don't really need to get into that. I think everybody who's ever enrolled into university, who has a son or a daughter who's enrolled into university, knows that. University tuition is just expensive, and it's getting more expensive every year. There was a report published about a month ago by a nonprofit called ICEF. I think it stands for International Committee of Education Finance, which actually stated that for every one student who enrolls into a reputable university around the world, there are 5 who cannot, for a plethora of reasons, the most important of which is finance. They simply can't afford it. This is the gap that we help bridge. By doing this, we've become the largest education marketplace in the UAE. Last year, we accounted for 3% of all private enrollments in the UAE. And that's tremendous. We're on course for 400% growth, et cetera, et cetera. But more than any of that, what we as a company are extremely proud of is that last year in 2020, which was an incredibly difficult year for students and parents, the middle class and the lower class were hammered by the recession. Many of them laid off or furloughed or put on unpaid leave. In that year, we transferred over $1.1 million in scholarships to students who applied through Lock and Stock and help them realize their dreams. You don't have to enroll at a not so good university just because you can't afford it. You don't have to go back to your home country. Don't get me wrong, there are great universities in India and Pakistan, but you should go there if you want to go there. You shouldn't go there because you can't afford to study in the UAE. And we help them achieve these dreams. And that's what we did in 2020 and in 2021 and so forth. Here we are. That's what we do at Lock and Stock.
Very good. Craig, you basically were a startup last year, and your business is, as you said, trying to match students to universities with the best scholarships. Last year, most of the universities were probably, you were closed for physical admissions. Most of the admission probably was just online with the COVID impact. How did that impact your business as a whole?
So the onset of the COVID pandemic was actually very, let's say, unsettling for us, right? When the COVID pandemic hit, we were bootstrapped. We were very, very young back then. I think we had maybe 7 people on the team. And we didn't really know what the future held for Lock and Stock. But with regard to what we were doing, it took on an even greater importance. In fact, many, many students, our numbers went up significantly due to the COVID pandemic because so many people were affected so badly financially that a lot of students and parents came to us and they asked us to help them. Our work took on an even greater responsibility last year during the pandemic, and that's carried over into this year. Last year, I think, by all accounts, the UAE higher education industry and really the higher education industry globally really suffered. It was a very difficult year for the higher education industry. We not only were able to buck that trend, but we were able to grow by almost 200% last year, which was phenomenal. And I think that was capped off, a very successful year last year was capped off by us winning the Disruption of the Year award at the Gulf Capital Awards in December.
Excellent. That's very great news, Craig. Craig, how did you come to know of TIE and what made you apply to TIE for mentoring?
I actually, I should be asking you that because I got an email one day from TIE and I don't know how it came, but I got an email one day from TIE and I went through it. It looked very, very interesting. The thing is, here at Lock and Stock, for all the great work that we're doing, I think part of being a great entrepreneur is also understanding your weaknesses as much as your strengths. I am 24 years old and the average age of the company here at Lock and Stock is 23. So as much as we have drive and passion and energy, there's also a lack of experience. I will be the first to admit that there's a lack of experience on the team, which is why, when something like this came about, I applied because, just being able to interact with someone from the industry. And I'm actually very, very lucky that I was paired with Shamima, who also works in the education industry. Being able to be paired with someone from the industry was great because when you're 24, and I think Shamima will testify to this, every time we got on a call, I had a new idea or something new to do. And Shamima just, I think, helped me focus. And that's fantastic. So that's why I applied. How I found out, Ivan, you got to tell me that because I got the email. I don't know how I got the email, but I'm very glad I did.
Good. So at least that email did not end up in your spam. So it hit you for the right reason, and it made the right change for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. For the audience, if you have specific questions to any mentees or mentors, please type it on your on the Q&A so that we can, depending on the time, ask those questions to the respective mentee or mentor at the end of this program. Craig, you said, you were mentored by Shamima. Shamima, she's she's the founder and CEO of EduTech Middle East and Asia. She's an expert in the tech sector. She also chairs a Thai women program in Dubai. She probably was a ideal mentor for you, since your business is in education. Shamima, if I can come to you now, what was your initial reaction looking at Lock and Stock? What did you think were the qualities that that business had, and what you thought were the challenges that they might face when you first looked at the business plan?
Sure. Well, I was excited because it was in the education space, and that is where my expertise lies. And so I was glad that it was in the similar area of my understanding. So when I initially looked at it, I did have some questions in terms of the ability to grow and scale, because it was very seasonal as such. That was my initial impression. And that's something that I've continued to badger on with Craig, saying that we need to find ways to expand, to have various business lines that brings in revenue across the year. So that is something that we have tried to address. And I think there was a couple of trials that Craig did as well based on our discussions, which did work out for some reasons, but I think that's something that we are continuing to explore. My initial also impression was that it was based on a technology platform in which, based on how many times students lock off their screens, they are able to get points. And so we live in a digital world, and we always see everyone, in spite of the age group, connected to our devices. But we also know that it is good to get off our devices in order to be able to focus on the work, and specifically for students, if they need to study, if they need to concentrate, they need to be off their devices. I mean, there is so many research that also shows that just having your phone next to you is itself a distraction. So we're trying to get that kind of a distraction away from students. So that was a really, I think, a brilliant idea to be able to connect it with monetary, I think, what do you call it? Points as such that they would get for scholarship. So, and I think right to education is something that we all deserve, and it's an aspiration for many of the families. And like what Craig said, that this gives people an opportunity to the kind of education they deserve. Company, and like Craig said, they're young and have a lot of ideas, so that keeps me on my toes as well. So to think about really what is it that they should be embarking on, or just also let them pursue their passion as well, not hold them back with all the ideas too. So it has to be a balance of things that I've had to do too.
And Craig, when you found that Shamima is going to mentor you, you know, what was your initial thought, and how has it panned out for you?
I was extremely excited, right? As I mentioned earlier, you know, for as much drive and passion that we have, experience and expertise was something that we were lacking. So I was extremely excited to be partnered or to be mentored by somebody from the education space with years and decades of experience in this industry. It has played out very, very well. Going back, I wouldn't do a single thing differently. As Shamima mentioned, you know, so while there were some things that we tried and didn't work out, I think Shamima really helped bring the focus here at Lock and Stock on finding, you know, just a secondary or a tertiary revenue stream that is 12 months of the year, 12 months of the year around and stuff like that. And this is something that we actually think about and we discuss very, very often now internally in the company. We didn't do that before, you know, being mentored by Shamima. And more than that, you know, Shamima was just, I think once a month, whenever we get on a call, she would just be my sparring partner with regard to new ideas and, you know, tell me if it was going to work, tell me honest feedback. And that's what I really, really appreciate. It has worked out tremendously. And I'm very, very grateful that I was paired with Shamima.
Okay, you said that there were certain things that you looked at, they didn't work out.
Right. So in terms of pivoting, there no pivoting per se, because the core business is growing at 400% year over year. This was really trying to figure out a secondary revenue stream, which would, you know, I think just for some explanation at this point, since we are an education marketplace, students enroll for university twice in the year, Jan, Feb, and September. So that's really when the business really brings in cash per se. But Shamima's point that was very, very valid was you need to find new revenue streams that bring in some revenue in Q2 or Q4, for example. So we tried and we dabbled with a couple of ideas. I think there was one, you know, since we are a platform for students, maybe also connecting students with jobs and internships. That didn't quite work out. What we realized is that connecting students with universities is incredibly different from connecting students with jobs and internships, and it really requires a complete refocus of the company. And we didn't want to do that. So that's something that didn't work out. But I think the lasting impact is that till today, and yesterday we actually had a full team meeting, and yesterday this was also discussed. Till today, we still discuss, finding that secondary revenue stream, which is very complementary to what we do.
Okay. Shamima, from your perspective, what did you find as the strengths in Craig, and that motivates you to keep on mentoring him and supporting him? And what do you think are the elements that you would like him to improve on to make it a real, go-getter?
Well, I think his strength is that he never gives up. And he's very diligent in ensuring that we meet. I do get distracted with my diary sometimes, but he ensures that the meeting happens. So I think that is a big credit to him. And I think that should be led by him. Though it's a two-way street, honestly, this relationship, I've learned quite a lot as well. So he's certainly been at it. And his enthusiasm for ideas, like you said, while it may be a distraction, but it is important to have that in order to be able to find out how to grow the company and how to scale. So I think that's something that he should continue to have. While it can be a distraction, but I would think that that is something certainly worth pursuing.
Craig, I also know that you have been one of the startups that has already started looking for the next round of funding, and you have already taken certain steps in this regard. Would you be happy to share some of your experiences in that particular arena?
Yeah. So I'm a first-time entrepreneur, right? And I think, as many first-time entrepreneurs might not know, might wrongly perceive, fundraising is a grueling and taxing process. Like, it is a long process and it is hard. But with regard to fundraising, when you're trying to, if your company is like a plant, fundraising is like watering the plant in sunlight. You need the fundraising to grow your plant into a tree. So if you really believe in your dream, you got to persist. And that's exactly what we did. We've been fundraising, we've been on this path for about 4 months or 5 months so far. I think we should close our round pre-series A by late May, I would think, within about a month or so. That's also a benefit of the overall wider economy. As the economy has opened up, things are becoming better. Investors and venture capitalists are becoming more, let's say, they're becoming less risk averse and are willing to invest instead of hoarding capital. That was the case last year. But from my experience, just first-time fundraising, I will testify to the fact that it is grueling and it is hard, but persistence pays off.
Very good. And from your perspective, for TIE as an organization, what are the areas that you thought we could continue to add more value that you couldn't find right now?
If I had to mention one thing, I would say more workshops. I think there are workshops that happen occasionally, but I think more workshops would be great, because obviously a workshop happening occasionally maybe doesn't appeal to all entrepreneurs within the ecosystem. So hence, a multitude of workshops would then appeal to different sets of entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in different stages of their company, for example. But aside from that, I mean, by and large, I have been very, very happy with the entire TIE program and the TIE ecosystem. I've learned a lot, and it has been incredibly beneficial, not only to myself as a leader, but as Lock and Stock as a company.
Wonderful. Good to hear that, Craig. And thank you very much, Craig and Shamima. We'll move on to the third startup. And I want you guys to join back once I finish the third startup now. The third startup is called Kafila, and it's promoted by Jitin Manoharan, and his mentor is Dev Paswani. Jitin, you were incubated in N5. And I think you participated last year, as an applicant from N5. Can you share with us your business and your experience of your business in N5?
To give an idea about Kafla, we are a digital freight forwarding company. We mix both for the traditional freight forwarding business with modern technology to solve logistics problems or complexities. I mean, that's a nutshell. And we primarily cater to B2B business. Yeah. And in terms of being incubated in Infive, we were evaluating a couple of options when we were founding the company in 2018. And that's when we were evaluating, and then we came across Infive option, because Infive had this technology incubation program. And we just applied for it, and then we got an email asking us to present in and it was process conference facility, which Mita used to tell us many times to organize small workshop and stuff. But yes, it was good, and also it does give us access to a lot of legal workshop, and also we were able to connect with a few other startups who were complementing our business. So in which way we were able to both give and take a reference from each other.
Very good. Okay, and for the audience, Infive is another partner company that TIE works with very closely. So we do mentor a set of applicants from Infive every year within our annual class. Dave, you have been mentoring Jitin. Jitin said he is a digital logistic management company. You don't come from the logistics background. For those who do not know, Dave Vaswani is the managing director at Milkshake Media. He's a very accomplished senior level producer for TV commercials in a career spanning over 17 years. He has broad understanding of all aspects of production, post-production, with very strong local and international experience. So, Dave, from your perspective, when you were given Jitin business plan, what were the thoughts that went in your head, and what made you jump on it and say, I'll turn this around?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ivan. Actually, when Jitin and Atif, both of them, the co-founders of the company, when I heard about them and when we started talking, to be honest, I was a little surprised, because shipping and film production are two very, very diverse sort of industries. But I think what attracted me and excited me about their whole business plan was that they were keen to be disruptors in the industry. And as a production company and dealing with creative agencies and brands who are always talking about disruption, but I got to see their way of thinking and their approach towards shipping, the whole bricks and mortar kind of business. But their approach to it was truly like disrupting it. They wanted to be almost, if I coined this correctly, like the Uber of shipping, when Uber came in and changed the transportation industry. So I think more than anything else, that idea excited me. And I think I was also very sort of grateful that we remained grounded to what my potential strengths could be and what I could help them with, which were, more B2B marketing, sort of helping them develop their own personalities within the industry, digital components of marketing, and maybe a little bit of filmmaking. But we stuck to what I could actually tell them in terms of the broader business approach. And I think, and of course, their enthusiasm and passion bowled me over. They were always pushing, and they were coming up with more ideas and better ways to do things, which I really appreciated. And it's been a great journey so far. That was one of the reasons that I was excited about working with them.
Very good. Jitin, you said you are another logistics organization. Logistics is not necessarily a new age thing. And you said you are a digital logistics management organization. Okay. Can you throw some more light of what makes Kafala a very unique organization that has the potential to scale and grow at a very rapid pace?
So logistics, like you mentioned, it's a very old industry. And what makes us unique is technology behind that, which enables our customers to, I would say, take better, have better planning, also have better insight into their logistics, mainly from the past transactions or past shipments that they do, which will easily help them to plan and forecast their beat productions, the shipment dates and things like that. I mean, in a way, you can actually plan your cash flow as well. I mean, this is primarily focused at, let's say, an exporter or a manufacturer who has to deal with quite a large sum of capital. Yes, we do all the work just like a traditional freight forwarder does, but we enable it through the platform. That's where it makes a difference for us and the companies that work with us. Having digital record of everything, having an audit trail of all the transaction or the shipments. I mean, if there are some customers who wants to have like minute by minute temperature check or like those kind of thing, everything can be available on the platform. And rather than having a calling up us or emailing us what's happened to my shipment, I mean, they can check it on the platform wherever they are, like be it on the phone or be it on the desktop, even after the office hours. So that I mean, yeah.
I think one like the fundamental difference between us and the other guys is that in terms of scalability, right? Like when we scale, a traditional model is like you add more people to manage more work and it goes side by side, right? Like it's like the more manpower or resources you put in and you gain more business or you handle more business. But ours is a more platform-based approach. So it's like we have those automations in place for us to, when we scale, our cost doesn't directly correlate to our scalability. Because of our platform approach, we are a digital first approach. What we do is our platform actually, as we scale, the cost kind of doesn't significantly move as the revenue grows or as those things grow. It kind of goes slowly because you are adding more automation. You don't need people to do things. You are connecting systems to system together. You're putting in those automations and things like that. That would improve and help you to keep your costs low. So that is how we fundamentally, in that essence, we're very different than a traditional freight forwarder because they rely on traditional methods for communications and other departmental support. We, on the other hand, are more into like a system to system, talking to each other, having those API connections and things like that.
So just to add one last point to that is, I mean, tomorrow if we have to scale to another country, I mean, we believe that if we take care of the local regulations, it's pretty straightforward for us to start operations from day one because everything is on the cloud, the back office, the team, everything is spread across, and you don't really require to have a setup all over in another country. You just probably need to have a account manager just to be present, and I think that should be more than enough to start scaling to other countries.
And what made you guys think that TIE could be the best platform to provide you the necessary support on mentoring?
I think
I would say that
all thanks to Meeta, to be very honest. Because
Meeta has been a great support previously as well. I mean, she has been giving us mentorship in N5, so she's been there for us. Thank you, Meeta, and kudos to her. But she was the one who told us that this could be a good opportunity for you to apply and to gain more insight, and additional ears and eyes into your business never hurts your business. So it always helps, right? Like
especially coming from people who has quite a lot of experience, and exactly. I mean, you can always learn from others.
Absolutely. Sure.
Dave, I know your career has been in doing the fun stuff of producing movies or putting people on screen and things like that. Now working with these two youngsters, Jitin and Atif, what were the fun moments that you created out of the interactions that you had with these guys?
Everyone thinks it's fun, but hey, I had hair when I started off in this industry. But it's a lot of hard work. But I mean, I think the whole journey has been fun, right? Every meeting with them was interesting because, I mean, in a way, it also helped me sort of give a perspective to my own business and how I run things, and sort of understanding their journey or their business life cycle, and then sort of almost while I was giving them a perspective, I was also kind of reflecting within myself, you know, within my company, and I think that made it a little more sort of interesting for me. That was the fun part, really. Yeah, I think that sense of perspective made it very interesting for me.
Makes sense. And also, Dave, considering that you are a fairly busy man with your own work, what makes it for you that you should make time for Thai and mentoring within Thai, and take it up as a passion to, mentor the next generation?
Makes me sound very old, but yeah, I'm not ready to retire yet. But no, it's interesting because you sort of have that sense of nobility, right? I mean, you're helping someone, but again, it's a two-way street. I mean, I feel like they're helping me too without them realizing it, and I felt that was very fulfilling in a broader way, and of course, having perspective and looking into another industry, which I, like we say, freight and shipping, it was another industry, but having that through them to be able to see how that industry works was also, interesting for me. Yeah, and I think it helped us both grow. It helped both the parties grow.
I mean, one thing I wanted to add in Dave's thing is that Dave was very, very transparent, and he was very open about that relationship, and we really appreciate that, because he kind of gave us like, hey, this is what I do, and you could do it cheaply like this, right? You could, like, he was very open and transparent about that, which is a very which is a very appreciative quality of a mentor, that he can, he's telling you, like, this is what I do. He's opening up his some work that he's doing. And then he says, oh, you could do this cheaply like this. You could do it better like this, or you could do it like this. I mean, that was, a very good quality, but I appreciate it. We all appreciate it from Dave. Thank you, Dave, for that. I actually appreciate that.
I think I let out some industry secrets there.
Yeah. We will keep it on the hush hush.
Good. And Jitin and Atif, so what were your initial expectations that you thought that you should get out of this program? And, did it change once you got involved, or did it continue on the same angle?
No, it did change. It did change. I mean, when we were assigned there, we did look up what exactly he does, and we kind of understood he's into production, TVC and stuff like that. I mean, TVC is actually, if you think about it, it's very challenging because you're communicating a whole story in like probably 15 seconds. So at the same time, we were also looking at positioning ourselves, probably have a better communication strategy, or these kind of things.
Brand personality as well. Yeah. I mean, like that
exactly.
was, that really helped us, because there's that element, like we had that problem of we were not able to attract the right clientele or the right people, because we were considered a disruptor, and then we were again put in the same category as people who provide the same product and services. So our value diminished, right? And we don't know where to start and we were just confused about that. And when we approached this program, and we approached that with that mindset, that how can we improve on the communication and the messaging, and how can we improve on the brand personality? And that is where Dave helped us. And, we looked at our whole communication, the social media, all those things. And, I have a presentation, just a short one. If you allow me, I could share it. It's a 2-slide one to show you where we were to where we are. So that
we'll quickly pick it up if you have it and you're able to share it.
Sure. Yeah, I can actually. Let me just present. Cool. So here is our old brand, Kafla, and this is where we are actually. Like, we are moving towards a new brand, logo and all those things, and the messaging framework. And why? And this is because we realize that we need to have an identity, and that perceived value should be in, people perceive brand in that 2 seconds they see it. So this is where we went back and we started looking at our brand and to, like improve it. Because Kafla, a lot of people would murder our name and say that it's Afla, because that Q is a logo, and they would say Afla. And we're like, okay, that's not the case, but Kafla is a caravan, and it's an Arabic word. So we used and changed our branding and positioning and all of that. So I just want to cut off there, saying that that's where we were, and that's where we moved to. We brought in new. We looked at our things in a very different angle, and we moved into a different angle because of our interaction and discussion with Dave. So thank you for that.
Wonderful. I think that was a very good interaction. Probably we can also get back all of the mentees and mentors now. So, Craig, Shamima, if you can enable your cameras and your microphones. Wonderful. I think we strongly believe that we had a lot of inputs to take from what we looked at in the last 45-50 minutes. Understanding the journeys of each of you guys as mentees and mentors. During the conversation, obviously Meeta's name probably came up in all the connections, and even Shamima's name came even before she came on stage. So there's a lot of cross connection and crossfire happening within TIE, which is what really TIE means. Although we assign one mentor, it doesn't mean that he or she is the only individual who is available to help, but it's a full network that is blended with expertise, and you get to access the right resource for the right purpose. Now, Meeta, from your perspective, what would be some of the guidelines that you would put forward to these mentees that they need to really follow to be really successful with their businesses?
Well, coming from a communications background, my first place has always been communications. And I would say this to the mentees all the time. You need to make sure that people who want to find you or be able to find you are able to find you faster. You need to communicate all your milestones a little bit better. You need to be able to do your media relations a lot better. You don't have to have a PR agency, though I know you and I have worked, Atif. But the thing is that you don't need to have a PR agency. What you need to do is look at the media that can influence you and make sure you find that your information reaches the right people, because that can amplify what you're doing. If people don't know, and that doesn't mean just media, I'm talking about stakeholders, your investors, you're talking potential investors, your customers, your business partners. They all need to be kept informed and informed about what you are and what you're doing, what your milestones are, where you're going from, what you're looking for. And you'll find that that is a very, very important. And that's something that I think that all, not just startups for sure, but a lot of businesses put it on the back burner or as a very low priority. I think that priority needs to go up a little bit more.
Shamima, you're doing a lot of things for TIE right now. You're as good as full-time on the TIE Women Chair. You're managing the entire Women Business Challenge competition for the next cohort now. What do you think within TIE, or what's the strength that you derive out of doing all this thing that you want to tell the mentees who are looking up to TIE for the next program?
Well, for me personally, I love to learn, and I constantly seek out learning opportunities. And I think that is what I think that this provides. And for me personally, I've learned a lot as well, not just within the mentoring relationship, but also among all of the other activities that I get involved in. For me, I need to look at every day and say, what have I learned new today? and how have I grown? That is something that I feel that it is important. And that's something that I even tell any of the, whether it's a mentee or any of the young people that I come in contact with, is that seek that out. And it's good for you to expand your business, to come up with new ideas for your business, to be able to reach out to customers in different ways. So I think that is one thing that I would always emphasize on. And I think that's one of the things that I've gained and I would want everybody to gain out of this.
Okay. Dave, I'm sure, I think you're fairly young in Thai, you know, although you have lost all your hair, I am sure it is not because of Thai. You know, and being part of this ecosystem and having this opportunity to mentor young mentees, what have you, you know, experienced and what you would like to improve in this ecosystem?
I think I just echo what Shamima said. It's great to learn from other people, and it's great that you can get a perspective of what other businesses are and how other people are dealing with their pressures and what because each business has its own unique sort of challenges, right? And it's great to be able to get a perspective on that and sort of put in your input. And in terms of improving, I really feel I think it's already a great system, and you know, I think it's working well. I think even maybe there was a little bit of a risk, you know, dovetailing me with a freight company and a production company, but I think it worked out. So I think whatever is being done with the right intentions, and it's being carried out really well. So thank you, and Ivan, thank you very much. Also, I think you know, we all need to really thank you for putting all this together, like the mastermind behind the scenes. So I think everything's it's just great the way it's working right now.
Exactly, it's like cricket. The, you know, captain is only as good as his team. You know, he cannot play for the 11 players, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I asked Jose this question, but I'm also would like to get feedback from the other mentees as to if you guys have got any suggestions on how we can improve on this program that we do as the annual class, and what were your messages for people who want to apply for the next batch, which will be open up probably in a month or two. You know, what would be your messages? Yeah, you probably, Craig, you can start.
Yeah, in terms of improvement, the only feedback I think is more workshops. I think the program is very, very good as is. It's a two-way street. It's a networking opportunity, so it's fantastic. But the only thing I would recommend is more workshops. And for startups who are considering or contemplating applying, I mean, it's free, it's tremendously beneficial, and it conveys a lot of advantages. Even if it may not seem apparent at the get-go or at the forefront, there are a lot of advantages that you receive if you are part of the program.
Wonderful. Jitin or Atif, do you have any points to add?
Well, I would echo what Craig said, that maybe workshops would be a good idea, and beyond that, networking within the startup cohorts, the same one or the previous one, that would add a lot. That would add more value to the you know, already set up. Like it will feel more like a community actually. So I mean, that would be something I would suggest.
Wonderful. Jose, probably will give you the last chance to do the closing remarks. So, you know, what ties next?
I would say invite us to meet in person. I know that this is complicated, but I had the privilege, the honor to meet Mita in GITEX. So we know that COVID is there, but I think that everything changes when you meet your mentor in person.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for all the efforts that all the mentors have been doing, and you know, the way our mentees have approached it and taken positively, applied it, made it successful for them and as a brand for being part of Thai. Thank you. Have a great evening and be safe. Make sure that when you go out, wear your mask, and you know, make sure that you are safe and healthy, and your near and dear ones are all with you all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ivan.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you so
Ivan. Take
much.
care, everyone.